Hello.
Oh, wait.
Did I scare you?
Did I scare you? I thought I was all set. I was wrong. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
How are you? Good, 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 good. Yes, this is daily life for me. I'm a little all over the place all the time. So,
I've back is
hmm
my name is Sonne. I live in the Netherlands.
hmm
I'm 27 and I watch verticals now for I think almost 2 years.
hmm
And my fan page is since February.
Okay,
And I have been doing this like since March.
that is awesome. That is fantastic. And thank you for supporting our little genre, our growing entertainment base.
Of course.
That's incredible. Yay. Well, my name is Toby. I'm an actor based in Los Angeles, California. I grew up in the States in a really, really small rural town called Fulton, Kentucky. And then right out of high school, I moved to New York City, and that's where I started my career. That's where I trained as an actor. Um, Ended up down in Florida. I like to say that I lost a bet and ended up in Florida. I went down for a grad school, and the grad school didn't work out, but a lot of other stuff did. So I worked with our major theme parks down there, and that became a huge part of my life. I worked what we call it themed entertainment um, in Orlando, all over the Orlando area, with Walt Disney World,
Oh yeah.
Universal Orlando. Universal was actually my big job, my main contract. And I did some side gigs for like SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and a few of the themed entertainment shows there. Um, then I did a year in Japan at Universal Japan, and then I was brought out by Universal Hollywood to work with them, and I was there for a while. So yeah, I've kind of bounced all around. It's been really nice. Um, I would love to get more into Europe and travel more there. I did tour with a company called Feld Entertainment. Feld owns Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, but they also do all of the Disney on Ice
Oh
shows,
yeah.
the Monster Jam shows, and I travel with their stunt unit, Marvel Universe Live. So I got to see um, a few international places before the pandemic shut us down. So, uh, yay, yay! That's me in a nutshell. Um, and I guess it was in 2023. I saw an ad on Actors Access about they called it a mobisode, a mobile episode
Mhm.
for something that looked like a. I thought it was like a Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, a biker kind of thing, and I was like, huh, okay, we'll go out for it. I even did the audition, kind of like a biker, and I got lucky. I got cast, and they started connecting me with their wardrobe and such, and they were asking for like the nicest, suits that I had, any vests, three-piece suits, ties. I'm like, oh, okay. So this must be a biker thing. It must be the courtroom scene. I don't really know. At the time, I didn't have the script yet. Um, got my sides, just my section of the script we were going to be shooting for that day, and I was like, wow, something seems odd here. Okay, we'll go. So I got to set. It was this nice house. Everyone I was acting with was dressed really well, and I met Casey Esser, and it was Casey's very first vertical as well, and we were kind of figuring it out together. Yep, yep. So at some point, he looked at me and goes, "Hey man, did you know we're werewolves?" I'm sorry, what? He goes, "Yeah, we're werewolves. That's what the alpha is." I'm like, "I thought we were bikers." And that one was Fated to My Forbidden Alpha. That was the first really big one we had over here. Cast was incredible. Everyone in that film were absolutely top notch. And I've stayed in touch with Casey since. I absolutely think the world of him. He's come out to see me in a couple of my live shows, and I went out in support of him when he was opening one of his gyms out here. But yeah, just truly a wonderful, wonderful human being, and it was an incredible introduction to this world of verticals. From there, I did about 4 or 5 of them. I did that one. I did. Oh God, which one was it? It was one of the billionaire husband ones. It was with Jared Harper, actually. Jared was in that one. Jared's been a pretty big vertical star for quite a few. Once again, great guy. And I am losing the name of the 2 actresses, that the one who played my daughter and the one who played my rival daughter. But they were truly marvelous human beings as well. And we all started talking about, what is this new format?
Was that with Molly too? But Molly Anderson.
Ooh, it might be. It might be. It might be. I can't believe I've forgotten their names. It's so strange. It's such a wonderful little community in the vertical world. And I was telling someone recently that it's one of the first times since I'd left New York that I feel like I found I call it my tribe. My tribe of people, of actors, of artists. It's really been wonderful. It's really been wonderful. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I'm getting out of it. That I found groups of artists that are working together for a common cause. Most of us, honestly, don't take ourselves too seriously, but take our jobs very serious, and that's just incredible to be around. Casey's probably the best example of that. I think you've interviewed him. Just a wonderful human being.
A week ago.
Yet he is he's at the top of the vertical world. But a part of that is because he's a truly wonderful human. So yay. Sorry, I've rambled on.
No, that's totally fine. I think in a short period of time you already answered a lot of my questions.
Well, I am efficient. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yes, while we were talking, I was looking up. That second one was The Double Life of My Billionaire Husband.
Yeah, that is the one.
And it was Avery Lynch, and it was Molly Anderson. Yep. Oh my God, I forget their names. But it's funny, that's 2 years ago that we worked together. It was an incredible experience, and we haven't crossed paths on set again. With a lot of us, we do end up working with each other more than once. But there's so many of these happening now that sometimes we, it's like ships passing in the night.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I derailed our interview.
Is there maybe a fun fact about you that not a lot of people know?
Ooh, let's see. You know what? I've had a really cool, wonderful life. And let's see here. I think everyone knows that I'm a nerd because I wear that on my sleeve. I am a massive nerd and proud of it. A lot of people don't know. A few people that know me, especially in the industry, know that I do stunt work. I've been doing fight choreography for a while. But a part of that was that I was actually an EMT years ago, an emergency medical technician. And strange enough, I got guided to that through the stunt world. I was mainly doing fight choreography for plays, for stage work, not as much for film. And I noticed that, like, when I was on a film set, we'd have these things called set medics. So in case anything went wrong, there was someone there. But in the theater world, that doesn't really exist, at least not the theaters I was working with yet. Um, and so I saw kind of a need of that. And as a part of my commitment to the stunt world, I became an EMT specifically. So if anything did happen, if anything went wrong, uh, they would have at least someone on there as a first responder. Um, like I said, on film sets, you have a set medic, so it's not really needed. But in a lot of theater, um,
Yeah.
like rehearsals, things like that, yeah, that may be kind of a fun fact, maybe.
Yeah, it is. mm, how did you started with acting?
Ah, um, it was sort of like a family tradition in a way. My grandfather was a radio engineer, and he started back when radio started. To be honest, I was really really close to my grandfather. Growing up, it was just me and my mom, but we lived in a very small town, and my grandparents lived there as well. So my grandparents, they they took care of us. They helped us. My grandfather had built a radio station years back for a family in this little town, and they hired him to run it. And then a few years later, he decided that was the town he wanted to raise his family in, so he bought the station from him and raised his family there. So not long after I was born, I was at the radio station. You know, some of my first spoken words were broadcast. So there was always like some element of there's an audience out there somewhere. Um, and I think that was part of what led me towards. At first, I just knew about movies. I didn't actually even know about theater, uh, movies and such, because I could hear them and I could see them. You know, um, and I was already kind of hooked in it. I was doing like creative shows on radio because my grandfather gave me freedom to do that. Sometimes he shouldn't have, but but he did. So he sort of knew I was gravitating towards something in entertainment, and they were all entertainers. Like all of them played instruments. All of them um, they they were a big thing because it was small rural country. Um, their church life was very big for them. And for them, church was like a small concert every Sunday. You know, when they'd get together and sing and play music and all like that. I never learned how to play an instrument. That's like probably my one big regret in life. I never learned to play an instrument.
That still can happen.
It could. Yep. Yeah, that is kind of a bucket list thing. I can play a mean kazoo, but that's about it. So so when I first got out of high school, see, even my high school, we didn't have an arts program. It was really small. And it's funny because they called it like a liberal arts education, but there were no liberal arts. There was no art. There was no theater. We didn't even have a band. That's how small the school was.
Cool.
Um, yeah, yeah. So I knew there was something else out there, and I knew I wasn't gonna find it staying in that town. So I left and went to New York, and that's where I got my training. I found a school that they allowed me in. I was literally the weakest student they had ever taken in their existence. They even told me that later on. But yeah, I found a school that took me in, um, and it was what literally changed everything in my life. Not just the fact of being an actor and going out and doing that, but the way I looked at the world. Um, and it was a school that, as hungry as I was for knowledge, it made me thirst for more knowledge. Yeah, as if hunger grew by what it fed on. Um, the more they taught me, the more I realized I, didn't know and wanted to know. That's what exposed me to world literature. I'll be honest, I didn't read a whole lot before I got there. And then after I was exposed to some of this, I became a voracious reader. Um, and a few things just kept sitting in my mind. I think, when you're young, you're a kid in high school, you think, oh, I don't want to learn this, I want to learn that, I want to learn the new stuff. And then at some point, I was sitting there and realizing, well, why did this literature? Why has it lasted so many years? Why has why has Shakespeare been around for 400 years? Why has in the States, every single state in the United States has a Shakespeare festival,
Yeah.
and within each one of those states, there are several Shakespeare festivals. There are more theaters with Shakespeare in the name than anything else, and it hit me. I was like, I don't think I'm the one who's right and everyone else is wrong. I think maybe there's something to this. I should probably look into it. And I started to, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And that's what led me to branch out to uh, other great playwrights, Heinrich Ibsen. My instructor, who I considered kind of a mentor, was a man named James Tripp. And his specialty was Chekhov. And I became a voracious reader of that, and the other classics. And it started opening my eyes to the world. And I think that's also kind of what fed that concept of like, I got to get out and see the world. I've got to see more than just what's around me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a very long-winded answer. Oh my God.
No, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I always love to listen to people's stories.
Yay. And actually, I can apply this to our vertical world. Um, I love the vertical world. I love this format. And some of it is a little superficial in that when I first started them, they reminded me of like the Spanish language telenovelas with the huge emotions and this exquisite overacting and such. I'm like, I got to do that. I don't speak Spanish, but if I did, I would totally try to get onto a telenovela because I think they're just incredible. Um, and the style of this felt like that. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I can check off this bucket list item. I'll try it. Um, and it was wonderful. And then I realized, like with the telenovelas, um, with what we were doing with the vertical format, the scripts and such, um, and the work I had done in classical theater, I was like, you know what? The style and technique that I learned that I apply to these, major texts, these major playwrights, I wonder if I can apply that to this. Now, I'm not saying, the scripts are Shakespeare. I'm not saying the scripts are that, but the way I look at it is like every major playwright has had some plays that had to go through development. They had to work
Yeah.
on. I mean, you're not going to see Timon of Athens, played as much as you will Much Ado About Nothing, but it came from the same playwright. So when you do Timon of Athens, do you just, I don't care, this isn't one of his good plays? No, you really apply yourself. I'm like, well, no matter how good or bad the script is, you don't have to be. So this is my reality. This script that they've handed me is my reality. How good can I make it? And that's what I go into with each one of the verticals, especially when they have to turn on a moment. And there's certain formulas with them that they build up and have a cliffhanger about every minute. And thinking about it, you're like, I don't know if that'll work. Well, guess what? It does work. It works really well. And for an actor, say if you were doing that as a stage play, that could get I don't want to use the word tedious, but it can be extraneous. There's so much going on. But consuming these minute long, say if you only consume like 10 episodes in the time that you've got off on your phone, or 5 episodes or whatever, you deserve to have the most impact that you can within those. That's our service to our audience. So I was like, let's really apply it. And that's what I did. And that's where I feel that I found success as an actor. Hopefully the audiences agree.
Yeah.
Hopefully the clients agree as well, because if the client doesn't agree, then the audience don't get to see me. But but that's literally how I applied it. And what I found was with the performers that I've worked with that that I've enjoyed the most working with, that that I think we've generated some of the highest quality work, like Casey, like Ashley Belote, Faith Orta. There's so many, Laura Faye Smith, and I know I'm leaving so many out. They had similar approaches, and so getting to work with them one-on-one in scenes has been exquisite, because I know that they're going to bring the highest quality of work. They're going to play into it, and I believe that that is what many of our audiences are seeing. It's what they deserve, you know. So yeah, I actually look at Verticals in the same style that I would Shakespeare or one of the classical texts. You look at what happens in Shakespeare, Titus Andronicus, great play, incredible play, the bloodiest of all his plays. You know, people don't just get slapped in that play; they get, you know, cooked into meat pies and served. Hey, you know, I mean, it's outrageous what happens in it. Well, yeah, that's kind of the stakes we're dealing with on these as well. So why not bring the best?
Before I forget, I always like to say, if you want to know something about me too, you can always ask that.
Awesome. I am dying to know how many languages you speak.
Do like 100%.
Well, how many are you fluent in, and how many do you speak or can recognize? Like myself, I only actually speak English, but I know a smattering of several languages, probably more Japanese than the others. But uh, but yeah, I'm fascinated by polyglots.
I can speak Dutch, of course, correctly.
Mm-hmm.
English, uh, also a lot. I can understand Italian
Mm-hmm.
and Spanish.
That is amazing. Do you find yourself like drifting between languages when you're trying to find the right word or expression?
Yeah, you can probably that will happen in our talk later.
Uh-huh.
Because I sometimes struggle to find the right, correct English words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Oh,
that happens.
English is a wild mess of a language. English rifled through the pockets of other languages around the world and picked what it wanted, and such.
Or what happens a lot too is that I sometimes, how do I say that? Gonna speak Dutch, and then I think, no, not Dutch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, yep. Or what is it like, the perfect word for whatever you're trying to express isn't in every language.
Yeah.
It's only in one or two. So, yep. Yay.
Mm,
And also, you started watching about 2 years ago, right?
yeah.
What what started your journey with verticals? What did you just like find one? Did it pop up online, or how did your journey start?
It's I came across it on TikTok,
Ah, okay,
and
okay.
then I started, I think, right away watching my first one,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think right away the second, third, etc.
Yep, yep, yep. Have you had? Do you have a favorite, or do you have like a couple that are within that realm of these are my favorites?
Ooh, I have a lot of favorites at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same way.
Um, I like a lot of Eric's work, Eric Gilmet.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think if we talk about you, then Faded to My Forbidden Alpha.
It is amazing how that one took off.
Yeah.
Um, you know, most of us, honestly, we were figuring out as we went.
Mhm.
Um, I can't lie about that. And I still come back to like Casey and everyone else that was involved, just committing themselves to it. It was a good script. It was a good concept. But yeah, it to this day, I'll be on a set and someone will be like, "Hey, you were in that first one. You were in Faded, weren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
Yeah, I now spoke with Casey, with you then, and with Autumn.
Oh yes, yeah. My lost daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because for right after I did a few of those, I actually took about a year to a year and a half off from all of the work. I was the artistic manager of one of these big themed shows. So I was in show 5 days a week, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. And I was also directing, choreographing, all that kind of stuff. So it consumed my world, and I loved doing the verticals, but I couldn't. I had to commit to my cast and to the show I was with, and it was one of our Halloween versions of the show that we do a meet and greet afterwards. And with that, I had fangs in. I had, I was as a vampire, and during the meet and greet, somebody recognized me from Faded. Uh, we were about to take a photo. I was, the big evil, vampire captain, and someone walked up and said, "Alpha Ethel." And all of us just kind of stopped for a second. I was like, "What? Alpha Ethel? You're the Alpha Ethel, aren't you?" "Yeah." "Wait, yeah." And everyone's looking at me, and like my cast members are like, "Isn't that film you did about a year ago?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just got recognized." So yeah, Faded has been just this wonderful, wonderful piece of my life that keeps popping back up.
How was that then when you got your first recognition?
Yeah, it's my first recognition from Verticals. Yeah, um, I've had I used to um, I used to joke around about this, but there's a little bit of truth in it. I used to refer to myself as the world's most famous unknown actor, and that's actually how I got my first manager, who is actually still my manager. Um, he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I worked themed entertainment, and I was incredibly fortunate that I was a part of one of the biggest openings in themed entertainment history. I was a part of the original creation cast of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. When that first started, they were going to have the Hogwarts Express out there, and there was going to be a show, a two-man show, kind of similar to say like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello, some of the classic two-man characters. And it was written to have a conductor who was supposed to be a very portly conductor and a very, very skinny porter, and they were going to do a balancing act. That's why the platform is set up like that to the side with all the luggage. And as it was being built, it was costing a lot of money, and so they had to make some cuts. And one of the things they did is they cut the show and just made a conductor, the conductor of the Hogwarts Express, and that was an original character for the Wizarding World. You saw a conductor in the movies, but he wasn't like a main, you know, um, character or facet of the Wizarding World. And within the themed entertainment version, we made him a fully fledged, you know, history, backstory, vital part of the mythology. And I got to work with. There was about, I want to say there was 23 of us who started, and there were actually 6 of them that started from the very beginning, from when it was just on paper. They call it blue sky. 6 of them, and then probably 3 months before we opened, they hired the rest of us. So I was with that second batch, um, and and we opened it up. And soon after we opened it up, they didn't hand, but they awarded 6 contracts. People that were going to be there all the time, and then everyone else would fill in as they could and work other positions in the park. And I got lucky. I got to be one of those 6 that were contracted. Um, and I was the only one at the time that didn't fit the initial archetype. So I wasn't the portly conductor. I was the skinny conductor. And it turned out that online, that's how I became known. You know, they said, "Hey, did you go? Yeah. Who's your conductor?" I had the skinny one. Um, so I found out like about 6 months, 8 months into it that, you know, there was someone called the skinny conductor. And then I found out it was me. So nobody knew who I was, because that's the deal. With themed entertainment, you don't know who we are. We are the character, because, and I do believe this, the mythology of it was more important than Toby the actor. You know, keeping that alive for our guest, because that's what they deserve. That's they come to be a part of it, and that's more important. So thousands and thousands of people came through and took photos. So I'm in photos all across the world. Nobody knows who I am. And the first time that I was recognized was in where did I fly into? I flew into Manchester in England,
Mm-hmm.
and I flew in and I was going through customs, and I was to the side of everyone else. Now I'm flying out of Orlando to Manchester, so almost everyone I was on the plane with had been to Universal. They had been there. They had taken photos with me. They'd seen me, but they didn't know me like regular. They only knew me in a 3-piece suit, and they probably weren't paying attention. So I'm standing at customs, and the agent is working with me, and I've got my passport and all like that. She's like, you know, how long do you plan to stay? I'm only here for 2 weeks. Do you plan on going back? Oh yeah, I have to go back. I got a job. Oh okay, yes. Well, where do you work? I work with Universal. Okay, what do you do for them? I'm an actor. And she looked up at me and she's like, no, what do you do for them? I'm like, I'm an actor. That's what I do. And she starts getting angry, and she's like, I asked you what you did. I'm like, ma'am, that's what I do. That's my contract. I am an actor with Universal Orlando. I don't understand. And then like some other agents started coming over. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to be arrested for being an actor. Oh, and that makes sense. And I can see people starting to turn around and look at me like, what's this guy doing? Is he causing trouble? And she's like, I'm going to ask you one last time. What specifically do you do at Universal? And I just kind of dropped into the accent. I dropped into everything. I said, I'm the conductor of the Hogwarts Express. Hello, love. And then I hear I hear people that are arriving back in start shouting, it's him, it's the conductor, it's the conductor. And they start taking photos of me standing with the custom agent like, hi. and and her coworkers that were around start laughing because they realize what's just happened. And here I am thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be fired because I just told him that that's me, that's who I am. And she stamps my passport, she hands it back, and as she hands it back, she goes, then I guess welcome home. So that was like my first brush with like fame, and I thought it was funny, just completely hilarious. Nobody knows who I am, and there's a little bit of pride in that. But yeah, for a few months, for a couple of years, I was one of the most famous unknown actors in the world. Yeah.
I love hearing that. I love learning new things about people.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how we live our lives, and you know, for as long as we have memory of everything that we've seen, been through, experienced, felt, that it's so much we can just barely comprehend everything that we've experienced and know, and to look around and realize that every other person has experienced exactly that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
My questions. Where did I was? We already talked about how you learn about the verticals, right?
I think so. It was like I said, it was just an ad on. We have this is called Actors Access. It's a website that we find auditions. There's a couple of them that are pretty high quality. Actors Access is probably my favorite. Casting Networks. There's a few others that, depending on where you are in the country, some parts of the country use them more than others. Like what is it? Casting Frontier, and I think one just called Cast It. But the rise of that really came with pandemic. Before that, they existed, but I think they were, the business model was having trouble taking off because it was always traditional.
Yeah.
Either you found an audition, you found a listing, or you worked with a manager and agent who was contacted and they sent you to an audition and you did them in person. Well, suddenly with pandemic, you can't do that. And some of these platforms really developed their platform well and made it possible. So now I love it. I really like it. I do miss in-person auditions. I had one last week, and it was kind of cool because I was like, oh my god, I'm going to an in-person,
Yeah, you told me.
yay, you know. Um, but oh yeah, that's right, because our initial
Yeah.
interview was scheduled for exactly when I had that in-person, and it went well. I didn't get it, but it went well. So yeah, I felt like an actor again, or I guess a traditional actor again.
Yeah. What do you like to do in your free time?
Oh wow, I've been on a health kick recently, um, and some of that is partly due to the vertical world. They like a specific look, so I've always health and fitness has always kind of been a little bit of my life, not a huge part, but a little bit. I was a martial artist for years and years and years, and that's part of what led me to being a stunt coordinator. Um, so I've been on a health kick recently, but one of my big hobbies is I grew up, like I said, small town in a country town. It was a farming town, and I grew up restoring cars, and I love working on them. I love just tinkering with them, um, and I do have one that I get to work on just whenever I can. So in free time, I love the probably the idea of of figuring this puzzle out of this mechanical wonder and working on that. So that's a lot of what I do in free time. What I would like to do in my free time though is travel more. Um, I'm I'm dying to see even just parts of California that I haven't seen. I know like the places where I work and the sets that I've gone to. I know that so much more is out there. The wonders of the state, the land, the people. I just don't know where to go to find it and see it. I am I am how would you say it? An old country phrase is I'm chomping at the bit. I'm chomping at the bit to see other parts of the world. Um, Dying to see like other cultures, other peoples, other just experience the food, the history of places. But I will admit that I get nervous traveling to other countries because I want to be respectful with both the customs and the language. And there's so few languages that I know that I get nervous about traveling.
Yeah, I get that. What inspired you to do acting?
My granddad.
Yeah.
It was my granddad. Yeah, he had a show that he did on the air called The Live Wire for years, and it was just a news and information show. It was like an hour long, maybe a special one was 2 hours. Part of what he'd call like all the local fire departments, all like that, get a report, find out what's going on. He'd bring local news, and he would tell jokes. It was amazing. He was truly amazing. And what he found out later in life was he knew the Live Wire was a popular show, but he didn't know how popular. And being a radio engineer, not everyone that like owned radio stations were also engineers. So for the other local radio stations around, if they had an engineering issue that they had to address, he would often be the person they call. And he he loved everyone. He was just such a wonderful person. And, yeah, sure, I'll come work on that. And he would go work on the other radio stations, like what you would think is direct competition, but he didn't really consider it that. Part of what he believed was in public service. So he was at probably his biggest competitor, and strangely enough, it was the same man and company that eventually bought our radio station. Um, but he was over fixing his transmitter or fixing something with it, and it had to be done early in the morning, so he got someone else to cover his shift on the live wire, and he went and fixed it. And he noticed that at a certain time, like at the top of the hour, their phones quit ringing, and they just didn't ring at all. And when that station's owner came in, he was like, "Hey, you need to call the phone company. I've been here and since 8 o'clock. Your phones haven't rung once. Something must be wrong." He's like, "Oh, no, that happens every day." He's like, "What do you mean it happens every day?" "Well, give it till 10 o'clock. They'll start ringing then." "What do you mean?" He goes, "Kenneth, the live wire's on." "What?" He goes, "The live wire's on. I was listening to that in the car on the way over. Are you kidding me?" So he had no idea how popular his own show was. Um, so yeah, he was an incredible man, and he was the inspiration that made me want to tell stories, made me want to entertain people.
No, I can see that.
Yeah.
I had to do like I have a passion for computers, like
Mm-hmm.
computer work and like things in social media and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it from my dad. My dad is.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up literally with computers and like repairing them and making logos,
Oh,
websites,
nice. Yeah. Now, was that something that he did for fun, or was that like what he did for a living?
both.
Both. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like it is for me now. It's also like my paid job, but
Mm-hmm.
also like just things I like to do in my free time.
Nice. Nice. What is like an average day for you? Like, especially, it's fascinating to me. Like living in the Netherlands, I have no idea what like a day-to-day life might be like there, and I'm fascinated by it.
Mm, then I pick a work day.
Mm-hmm.
I just get up on 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then I go on my bike. We have a lot of bikes here in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go to my job. It's like 20 minutes riding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am there from like 10 till 4 p.m.
Okay.
And there's a day full of building websites for clients,
Mm-hmm.
making logos,
Mm-hmm.
flyers, things like that.
Cool.
And then I go home where I am right now. This is my own home.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then I do just normal stuff like this.
Nice. And how about hobbies? What do you do when you're not working and such?
Then I like to go out with my friends, with my best
Mm-hmm.
friends. For example, I'm going to Belgium next week.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I like go shopping, of course, and
That is so cool. You're going to another country with your friends.
yeah.
That's like me saying, "Hey, we're gonna go really far away. We're gonna go to San Diego."
And of course, this is also what I do in my free time, to be honest.
Mhm.
My
Yeah, yeah,
fan page.
that's awesome. That is so cool.
That is, what is one of your most memorable moments on a vertical set?
The one that always stands out was the one that I mentioned earlier, when Casey was talking to me, and when I found out I was a werewolf. Like, wait, what? Well, here we go. Okay, I guess so. That was a huge one. Let's see. Recently, I was one that was just recently released. Single mom by mistake. CEO wife by fate.
With shaman.
Yes, with Shauna. Yeah. Um, that one was a truly wonderful experience because I'd been playing all these like mean dads. I
Mhm.
played villains, which I love playing villains, but every now and then it's nice to do something different. And I actually have a physical comedy and clowning background um, that that I think only on that first one, The Secret Life of My Billionaire Husband. That was my first comedy that I got to do, and then I didn't get to do another comedy until Single Mom. And our director Grace was absolutely wonderful, and she encouraged us to improv. Some we could use, some we couldn't. She did direct us, she gave us guidance, but she let us play. And being able to play with Shauna, with Ryan, with was it Camila on that one? Yes, with Camila on that one was incredible. To be able to look these other actors in the eye with nothing but mischief in our hearts. And to see no matter what you did, they were right there like, oh, that's what you're doing? Okay, here we go. All right, okay. Yes, and. um, and the fact that they let us do more than one take, not because of anything wrong, but they wanted to get a few different things. And one of my favorite things was to see how I could crack Ryan up. Especially if he was right off camera, where I knew it wouldn't ruin the shot. What could I say? What could I do to get the biggest out of him, and then to be there and watch him turn that around on me, and like, oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. um, and that was kind of a day-to-day thing. And what's funny is um, almost all of our improv were the lines that made it on camera.
Yeah, Summer did
Um,
that.
yeah. The no takebacks, the coming out of the door. That's the first one that I intentionally dropped the line of Shakespeare in,
Hmm.
and that's kind of I've only gotten to do it two because I realized that's going to be something I'm going to try to do on all my verticals. So if I have fans, yay! If I've got fans, moving forward, see if you can catch the line of Shakespeare, and a part of that'll be if they keep it. So I'm trying to sneak it in, hide it, but I'm always trying to put in at least one really recognizable line from Shakespeare. And in Single Mom by Mistake, it's from As You Like It. And it's when we're dressed as poor people,
Hmm.
or the way we put it is like a rich person's idea of what a poor person is. And I'm on my way out the door, and I slid in. So I forgot the way the line was written, but what came out was, "Son, sell while you can. You're not for all markets," and that's directly out of As You Like It. It's a line I had years back when I got to do As You Like It, and it made it. It made the cut. And I was telling a friend of mine on Nikki on one that actually just got released last week as well with Rebecca Stoughton.
Yeah.
Yes, and oh my god, they changed the names. We'll work on them under one name, and then they change the name when it's released. And I'm having trouble keeping track of which which name this one was released under. But I was talking to them about that, and they're like, "Well, can you get one in on this one?" I'm like, "I've literally got one scene left. I've got literally 4 lines left, and I'm wrapped for this picture." And they're like, "Well, come up with one." I'm like, "Well, okay." And I finally found one where once again I'm playing the mean evil dad.
Hmm.
Um, and let's see here, it's it's the scene where the family is arriving, meeting the bad family uh, at a convention or an awards banquet, yeah, a
Yeah.
convention of some sort. And we're on the red carpet, and we meet them, and we kind of square off. And I've actually got I don't know if the line made it. I don't know if the line made it in there, but we face off, and they kind of storm off, and the father's left there like, oh, in anger and such, and I throw in a pox upon her. Which is it's just a Shakespeare insult, but it kind of fit what we were doing, and I sewed it into the middle of 2 lines. Just kind of, I'm like, maybe they won't edit it if I put it right there. And I put it in, and it seemed to fit. And I looked over it, and I saw the script supervisor. She was following along, and our script supervisor was incredible. And she's like, "Wait, did you?" And she asked me, and he goes, "Was that like that was Shakespeare, wasn't it?" I'm like, "Yes." You're doing Shakespeare in verticals, aren't you? Yes. Yes, I am. Now, if you'll pardon me, I'm going to go get my slapping hands. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. To my if I don't even know if I've got fans out there, but if I have any fans, or to the fan base, see if you can catch my line of Shakespeare.
Ooh, now I'm gonna watch it again.
Yay!
Have you ever wanted to do like a retake on a show that you thought this is not so good, I want to do it over?
Every single shot.
Really? Like,
That's one of the, it's when you're doing the work and you're like really exploring it. You'll put something out there, and then in your mind you think back like, oh wait, was that exactly what I meant to say, what I meant to do? How I relate it to like in real life, when 10 minutes after a joke, an argument, anything like that, you realize what you should have said, or the way you should have said it. As a process, I'm constantly going through that, and I love when I'm able to explore that on sets, but also because there's with these films, or with any films, there's so many things that are completely out of your control. They're going to set the shot up, you're going to have everything around you and such, and you bring all this work to it, but then you have to put it within this framework,
yeah.
And make it fit. And there's always something like, okay, could I? Do you have what you need? Behind me of what's going on. Did I deliver this in a way that you need? Because you do try to do it for the director, for the fan base, of course, for the editor. Are you in the right angle for the sound technician to be able to really pick everything up? So there's so many little bits and pieces, that there's always it's this slight hunger to do it a little better, or maybe do it a little different. Or I looked at it this way: when I work on a play, if I'm lucky, I will have more than 2 weeks to rehearse. But if you're lucky, you'll have like a 6 to 8 week rehearsal period, sometimes 8 hours a day, and you're constantly exploring. A habit that I have that I love, and I don't intend to ever not do it this way, I keep the script with me the entire time. I get off book as soon as possible. If I can walk into rehearsal, lines memorized, knowing my lines, fantastic. But I will still have the script with me, because after we do the work, I'll sit down with it like a scene study and go through. Okay, where is the structure? Okay, the playwright put it here. Is that supposed to juxtapose to distance? Oh, wait, 2 pages over. That's where it is. And that's that exploratory thing. Like, oh, that's how that connects. That's how that connects. I never stop exploring. So by the end of a run of the show, if I'm doing my job, my very final performance, I will have discovered something new that it took that entire time up until then to discover. So it's fresh, it's alive, it's current, and I know that I have done justice to my process. And yeah, usually I don't have one near me, but my scripts are just mangled at the end of a run, because I've just flipped through more and more. Like, let me read that again. Let me read that again. And that's it's not the same, but I heard something about Anthony Hopkins and some of these great actors. They were like, how do you make this so truthful? How do you really learn a script? And they would say, you read it 200 times. What? You read it 200 times. After 200 times, then you're ready to begin. And I think that the way I like to work, sort of feeds into that. I never put it down. By the time I'm done with the show, I can't even tell you how many times I've read it or like pieced it together and such. But I just love that exploratory process. Once again, I've gone long-winded.
This is totally okay. Which of your characters did you feel the most connected with, and why? Vertical character.
I'm thinking of like three specifically for the reasons why. I was very connected to Alpha Ethel. That was the first one, of course. Um, there was a passion within him that is similar to something I experienced in real life. Within the course of that story, we're acknowledging Alpha Alexander. He is the most powerful of the alphas. He has risen to where he is. Alpha Alexander refers to Alpha Ethel as being, I guess, formerly the most powerful of the alphas. One of the best rulers, the best this. And there's experiences I have in my life where I've been able to pass the torch. For oh my God, 8 years, I was the conductor of the Hogwarts Express, and when it was time to move on, it was time to pass the torch because newer, better, a different conductor needed to be there, and it was my responsibility to leave it better than I found it. And there was something about that relationship between Alexander and Ethel that somehow I connected to. Like, when Ethel had to come to him, please, you have to help me. And Alexander knows this is important. This is his daughter.
Yeah.
There was something that really I felt grounded in that. Of course, it doesn't hurt that I was working with Casey, who was a spectacular performer. Got to work with Autumn, who was incredible. Autumn, who was incredible as the daughter. My wife on that one, oh my God, I've blanked on her name. But I've only worked with her once on that one, and she was remarkable. We met first day on set, and it just clicked as actors. Yeah, that one I was really connected to, and I've always kind of joked around about this, and it's a joke, but it's kind of serious. I would love to reprise the role. I would love to play Alpha Ethel again. I would love to do something in the vein of the rise of the Alpha Ethel, to give the backstory of of what led to the war, what led to this, and you could see the rising Alpha Alexander as he's coming into his own. I think that would be an incredible story. Yeah, so I've always kind of joked around that. Me and Casey joke about that from time to time, and just explore that. And also because I've been doing stunt work and fight choreography since I was in my early 20s, and I've been doing it long enough that that I've begun to experience the aging process through physicality and such. And there's a group of us out there, and there's the group that came before us, of course, that we're all kind of cut from the same stone. And this idea of not just passing the torch, but also we've experienced aging as a stunt performer. And most of us, I'm going to brag on us, most of us, we still got it. We're still really good. We move a little bit different these days. Maybe not as fast. I'm not going to be doing a lot of flips. I don't. It's called tricking. I don't do tricking. But I can entertain you within the stunt world. I'm good at that. I really am. And I give all the props to these young guys who are coming in and doing the crazy flips and the crazy stunts. It's just amazing. But there's, like I said, there's that group of us that we kind of still got it. We just don't get to show it off as much. And we take a lot longer to recuperate after. The joke is it's not the age, it's the mileage. But that all kind of falls in that same realm of why I really liked Alpha Ethel. As far as the other ones, George from The Secret Life of My Billionaire, or The Double Life of My Billionaire Husband, and the recent one with Ryan and Shauna was because I got to return to comedy roots. And comedy is such an integral part of my soul. I feel like when I get to play into comedy, I get to share a little bit more of my soul than other roles. Yay!
The next you already kind of said this a little bit. That is how you prepare for roles. You said you read it over a bunch of times. Do you
Yes, yes,
Do you do more?
yes. I read it and read it and read it. And what I do is the first time I read it just for pleasure. Just let's take a look at this, and I'll read it all the way through. And what I can do is I'll have a notebook to the side, and after I finish reading it, I will write down like just anything that just stood out, like something that happened, say in the first few pages that really stands out. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. What do I remember? And then when I go back and I do what's called a close reading, where I'll read certain sections either over and over or start trying to connect those dots. Usually those first impressions, I'm like, there's something there. I don't know what yet, but there's something there. Sometimes it could be just that it struck a personal note with me, and it may not relate to the greater audience. Sometimes it's, and I do believe this, when a writer writes, certain things that are close to their soul will come through in the writing,
Yeah.
and it'll be revealed. And sometimes the writer doesn't even know this. That's why I think table reads are vital and important, and they're important for writers, because when you do a table read and you hear it out loud, you hear it different than the voice in your head. And also, you can see where it connects to people. What really connected to someone may take you by surprise. You didn't realize you were writing on a common theme. You thought it was just something that you think. Um, so yeah, the first initial read is just for fun. The next few reads are what would be called close reads, and very soon after that, I start trying to memorize, because until I get those words in my mouth um, and in my lungs, they're not mine. Um, and I gotta get them on my breath for them to be mine. So I'll start trying to memorize as soon as possible, and I will do anything I can to memorize because it does not come natural to me. Read it over and over. I literally have a scrap notebook that I write every line out over and over and over again. Occasionally, I'll make if there's something that I really feel very strongly about, like a different word, a different phrase, or a different turn of something, or how it connects to something that I initially wrote down. Like, this is important. Let me see if I can reconnect that. Um, I'll write it out over and over and over again. I will record it, and I have even been known to record it, put it on repeat, and play it even while I sleep. And that's usually on those shows that, say, if I've been replacement cast several times when there's been just a very short amount of time. Like I've gone on with a leading role 4 days before a show. And I'm talking about a play. 4 days before a play started. So there's no, once you start, you go all the way to the end. So I had 4 days to learn an entire role and do it well. So yeah, I would do anything I can to get off book as much as possible. And what I find fascinating is, especially on sets, because there's so much technical stuff that goes around. And with verticals, you don't have the same kind of lateral movement. You really got to stay focused on the vertical framing. There's so much technical. Every single one that I've done, I can be completely stone off book, and the moment they call action, usually something will start kind of going off, because you're thinking about, where's the mic, where's the placement, where's the camera, don't flag the camera, where's my fellow actor, okay, the camera needs to see this, so I need to be adjusted, so I'm not actually looking at them, I'm looking slightly off. All these other things come into play. And I like it because it kind of keeps it fresh, but that's also the reason why you need to know what you're doing. You need to know your lines, even if in the worst case, if you aren't memorized, if you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing, good actors are able to find the words that the playwright wrote, even if they're not the exact words. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you think people underestimate about the vertical world?
They underestimate how legitimate of a genre it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I have honestly seen this in other forms. And if you look back, take a historical look at entertainment in general, it has always happened. Um, when they first captured images on film and made what they called flickers because they would flicker when they played them,
Mm-hmm.
it was novel and it's not legitimate like the stage. And then movies started to evolve, and then someone found a way to add sound to them. Oh well, that's just a novelty. That'll never replace true cinema. That's silent. It became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then movies went from black and white to color. Oh, that's just novelty. That'll never catch on. That's not real cinema. It kind of caught on. It took a while for people to adjust to it. That has always happened. Um, I remember the rise of the internet and YouTube. Oh, YouTube, it's just, I don't work on YouTube. Yeah, well, it's $1 billion industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also vital. It's also amazing. Um, then, the verticals happened and TikTok and such. And, to this day, you hear people talking about, oh, the scripts are just so bad. So what if they are? Doesn't mean you have to be,
Okay.
you know, Timon of Athens, probably not his best play, but it's no excuse not to be the best you can be. You know, um, I think it's just underestimated. I think it's like growing pains, and I kind of understand it. Some of us have worked so hard to be a part of what is mainstream because that's what we knew. Um, in my own life, man, I would give anything to work opposite of Tom Hanks. I would give anything to work opposite of some of these just tremendous actors. Spaceballs Part Two is filming right now. Oh my God! If I could be a fly on the wall, an extra in that, I would love that. We've worked so hard to be a part of what is established that when something new happens, and what I think it is like new happens and it takes off and you feel left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I understand that feeling because I think in a lot of my life, growing up, I've always felt kind of left behind. Um, so I understand why people lash out about it.
Yeah.
But I do think they underestimate it because there's been some incredible work. There's been some wonderful work. And at the time, I think Casey talked about this. At the time, mainstream is such a big market, a specific market.
Mm-hmm.
Even he was having some trouble
Yeah.
getting into it. And at the same time that I believe he talks about when he had one of his lowest lows was when he got faded. And, you know, the world may not have known about Casey if it hadn't been for Faded and for the vertical market. And you know what? The world is better because we know Casey. So I think they underestimate it. I know they underestimate those of us who are working in it. Um, the only, I don't want to say negative, but the only unfortunate thing is there are a lot of people that are working in them that are still underestimating it.
Yeah.
I'll hear it on sets. Like they're like, oh, it's just this. Oh, it's just that. I mean, I don't really tell anyone I do this. Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're getting your screen time. You're probably going to get a reel out of this. Oh, I'd never use this on a reel. Why not? Why wouldn't you? you use your student films on, and some of those are incredible. Some of those are growing pains. You know, you use your commercial work. Why wouldn't you? Um, so it's that acceptance. Um, like I said, I love the format, but I also related it to things that were also guilty pleasures of mine. You know, telenovelas, Magna. You know, things that I'm like, this is really cool. You know, I get to be a werewolf. Yay! You know, I get to be an alpha. They call me alpha. They don't know I'm just a nerd. I'm secretly over here with my sonic screwdriver, pretending I'm the doctor. You know. Um, Using the force to open doors at the shopping center. By the way, if you know someone who has never once used the force to open a sliding door, do not trust them. You know, you've done it. I know you've done it.
There was something I want to say about what you just said. Oh yeah, that I could relate to what you were saying about the feeling of alone.
Left out?
Yeah.
Yeah, alone or left out. Yeah. Yeah, what would you like to know?
No, only I wanted to say that I could relate to that. I have that a lot sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? At some point, most of us do feel that.
Yeah.
Um, some of us more than others, you know. And I don't know, I think there's something to be said about having alone time, but there's something very different about being left out or left alone.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. You know, I don't want anyone to feel left out. I don't want anyone to feel abandoned. And I think that's a root core of something in my life. Um, I don't want anyone to feel that way. And that's why with fandoms, I'm going to call them nerddoms because I actually take a lot of pride in being a nerd. But in nerddoms, in fandoms, and even because the vertical world is within that realm,
Mhm.
um, there's something about it that those of us who have felt left out and haven't figured out how to change that can find comfort in. Um, and that's why I think like the online communities, the fandom, I think it's just amazing. I think it's wonderful. Because I remember one of the first times that um, I actually stumbled across um, a science fiction convention. I'd heard about them, but I'd always felt so left out. I didn't have anyone to go with. I didn't know what to do. I was nervous, and so I didn't. So I was part of the problem of feeling left out. Um, and I was on a tour with a show. I think it was To Kill a Mockingbird. I was touring with, and once again, I was playing the bad guy. I was playing the bad guy in that one, and the hotel they put us up in was a convention hotel, and a science fiction convention was going on. So I literally like get there. We get checked in. I go downstairs for something, and I go to the restroom, and I look over, and the stalls are all taken up with Klingons, like actual Klingons, full regalia, and they're talking Klingon or Klingonese, and I'm looking at it. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, I think these might be my people, and I walked around and I was just in awe. Um, it's one of the things, like, there's been a huge rise in the popularity of cosplay, and I will admit I don't understand a lot of cosplay, but it's not because I don't look down on it. I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible, but because my entire life has been built around. Um, I don't build my own costume. Someone else does because I'm not allowed to build my own costume. Someone much better than me builds it, and then I wear it for a show, and it's my job. my job is to dress up. So like I almost never dress up on Halloween because it's the only time of the year I don't have to dress up. um, but you know, although I don't fully understand or comprehend it, I think it's amazing. I think it's wonderful. I don't have to know how to play the violin to appreciate a violinist. Um, but but there's a certain community and a certain there's always a place to fit in. You just gotta find your place, and with any luck, it's something positive, not just for you, but it's actually positive for those around you. Yeah, yeah, and I think the vertical world is within that realm.
Yeah,
It's a place where a lot of us that may have felt left behind aren't alone.
true. I agree. It was funny while you were talking about the underestimate question. You answered also the one that I would ask now. That if you could step into any show or movie that's not a vertical.
Ah, yeah. Oh my God. If there was a way to be an actor and get directed by Mel Brooks, that that would be amazing. I had an experience last week that I posted about, but it was one of those moments where like, oh my God, I am literally like 5 feet away from one of the true goats, greatest of all times. I have a lot of friends that work circus skills and stilt walkers, things like that. And a really good friend of mine, a guy named Todd McLean, he developed a character, and he actually has a series of children's books out called Captain Talltale. You can find him on Amazon, but he also does live appearances. And he started working with it's called the Vandy Camp organization, and it's Dick Van Dyke's organization. Him and his wife, and it was her birthday, Arlene Van Dyke. It was her birthday, and they were doing an event. And Todd's like, "Man, they gave me an extra ticket for an assistant. Would you be interested in coming along?" I'm like, "To be your assistant?" "Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me?" Because Todd's an incredible person, just an incredible person, and he is a top-notch stilt walker. And I love the fact that where his focus is. So I went out there, met Arlene, absolutely spectacular person. Met so many creative people, so many wonderful people, and then Dick Van Dyke showed up. And Dick Van Dyke, he did a few little dances with us. He sat down and told some stories. And I don't get starstruck much, like very much. I was starstruck. I was absolutely starstruck. He turns 100 in December, and I'm listening to him talk, and I'm like, look, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. I became a kid again. Um, but, to be able to work with some of these folks, man, that would be incredible. As far as what's going on right now, there's all sorts of shows that are popular I really like that I would love to be on. But but I think more of it is getting to work with certain artists, to be able to be on set with Steven Spielberg at some point, to honestly, a dear friend of mine who is making some serious waves, Greg Rementer. I worked with him at Disney World, and he is a stunt coordinator and right now a second unit AD, one of the greatest humans I know, and an incredible stunt coordinator. Um, I would love to work with my friends more,
Yeah, I get it. What is something you hope to see more in verticals?
Ah, um, from a very personal, selfish point of view, I would love to see the supporting roles get larger. I would love to see the supporting roles be taken more seriously, both by the actors and by the clients, because we do a very vital job in the verticals, um, and those of us who really take it seriously that are supporting actors, I will probably never get to be a lead in one of these. I'm not of the age bracket they think that I should be to be a lead. I understand that's just what it is. Do I have the skill set? Yes, I do. Um, can I do justice? Yes, I can. But I don't know for sure if I'm what our audience wants to see um, in a role like that. But I would love to. I would love to bring some of these stories to life in a larger role. Um, Vertical World has created a golden era of Hollywood again. They recreated the studio system. And eventually, what happened was, like, if you even look at the Oscars, you always know Best Picture, Best Actor. Well, eventually, they did create a category for Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, um, because they realized how vital the role of a supporting actor is, and it is a different job. You know, the way I put it is, you look at some of these leads who were going to shoot 20 to 25 pages in a day. No matter how much work they've done, your mind gets exhausted saying that many lines. You know, they've got that job on them to look a certain way and to get enough of it out. As a supporting actor, part of what we do is we support that. We support the entire structure of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, one, we need to be off book. Two, we need to really know what we're doing so that by really knowing what you're doing and coming in, playing your action as if it's life and death, doing your job, makes it easier for the lead actors if they're engaged, if they're actually in it. You know, some of them are damn good actors, um, and by supporting them in that way, that lets them be their best. It frees them up. Um, I would love to see the clients and the major companies support their supporting cast more, because I do believe if you look at the top ranked verticals that have remained at the top, not just like, oh, that was great and then gone,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, and I always come back to Faded because it endures. Like if you watched it right now, you're like, wow, that was a really good one. Look at your supporting cast as well. They invested in us, and we brought the rain. You know, um, look at some of the others that are out there right now, and it's strong. One that I did recently with Ashley Bloat. Ashley is amazing because she's a leading actress who is an incredible character actor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she really knows her. She knows her work. She knows it, and she comes in committed. And I've worked with her when she's supporting cast. Brilliant, fantastic to work with. I worked with her recently on one where she was the lead, and technically I was just supporting. I was only filming for like 2 days, 3 days, and I played the most savage role I played to date. And oddly enough, a lot of what they do is they'll put me in three-piece suits. I kind of look frumpy, and I actually do look older in those. But in the one that I did with her, Forbidden Love with the Young CEO, I play her ex-husband, and it's savage. And that's the only way I know how to put it. It is savage, and what do they call it? Um, Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Um, it's what they call before the paywall, but it's early in the film, and whereas we talk about with Verticals how they have a lot of gratuitous violence.
Yeah.
Some of the violence it's gratuitous. It doesn't need to be there, and it doesn't fit. But then some motivates the story forward. And like with all villains, if you are truly playing a villain, you have to play into it, or else you don't do justice to what needs to happen. Um, and I first got cast in it. I read the script, and there was a moment where I was like, I don't think I can do this. And it wasn't because I couldn't do it; it's because it was savage, and and I didn't know who the actress was I was going to be playing with. I didn't know who the stunt coordinator was. I didn't know who the NPC coordinator was, and to do justice to this, it was going to require all of them. And I got a call from Ashley, and she's like, "Hey, are you cast as Harlan in this one?" I'm like, "Yes. Please tell me you're Renee." I am. Oh my God, yes. Okay, yes. All right. I know that I'm working with not just the fact that she was a pro, but I already had a great standing professional relationship with Ashley. I trusted her implicitly. She trusted me. We communicated with the intimacy coordinators, Celiana, who was amazing, amazing. And we all got on the same page. And that was directed by Eric. I think his last name is Schwager. Schwager, yeah, Eric Quinn Schwager. Um, Brilliant director, and I think he is a rising star, not just in Vertical World, but in the world. And our cinematographer, who I blanked on his name, unfortunately, also brilliant cinematographer. We all worked together to bring this to life. Now it's Forbidden Love with the Young CEO. I Am Harlan. The opening scenes is trigger warning because it's savage, and it is savage. But it's also some of the most grounded and truthful work I've seen in a vertical yet. Um, it shows me in a different light, not just as a stereotypical vertical villain, but as a tormented soul who chooses the dark path. So I'm really proud of that work in it. I'm so proud of Ashley and our director and everyone else because they made it possible. Yeah, check that one out if you can. I'd love to get people's opinion on it because, like I said, I was worried about it because it was so savage, but I think it's quality work. And I think that's the type of quality work verticals can do.
True.
I do believe they're going to move closer and closer to that as well. I do believe as some of the major studios start adopting this, it's only a matter of time before I know that Disney has already partnered with DramaBox. They're already looking at it. I know Netflix has been looking at it. I know other major outlets are looking at it for the form. Some of it will have to adapt to their version of this style. Some of it will stay in its pure form on like Real Shorts, DramaBox, all the platforms out there. Um, but I'm interested to see where they do take it because I know we can do some really high quality work in the vertical format.
I will watch it and let you know what I think.
Yay! Yay!
Because I love Ashley a lot. Ashley is great.
Oh, she's brilliant, brilliant.
I was thinking, since do you want to know how long we are calling already?
I haven't looked at the clock. I have rambled so much. Oh my god.
Do you want to know or do you see it?
I don't see it. Is it right in front of me? It's right in front of me, isn't it? How long have we been going? Oh my god. We've been going an hour and a half. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this. Thank you for allowing me to express my thoughts on the vertical world. In a way, kind of give back to the fan base, tell them how much I appreciate them. And I really do. I really do. And if anyone in the fan base, if they're still listening, if in any of your posts, if you want to tag me, that would be awesome because I am kind of I'm trying to build a little bit of a fan base, and the only way the clients realize that we have value is when the fan base responds. I hate to pitch myself like that. I'm terrible at that. I feel horrible, but if you guys like what I do, tag me.
I will tag you in the whole conversation, so you will see it.
Yay!
Picking questions is hard. Yeah. What's the best career advice you ever got?
Oof. Best career advice. Stay curious. Be passionately curious. Yeah.
Oh, and if you could give your younger self advice? Like younger you?
A younger me. I'd tell my younger self it's going to be all right. You know, there's a lot of hardships that you'll have to face, but there's also a lot of joy and a lot of love in the world. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. Wait, I do one more. What do you hope to achieve still?
Within the vertical world,
Yeah.
I would love to take on some leading roles. I would love to. I would love to be a part of writing and producing for the vertical world, um, and eventually directing. Um, I desperately would love to work with so many of my friends again. Um, Casey, Ashley, Molly, um, Ryan.
Molly, where you didn't remember her.
I know I didn't remember her name to start with. I'm so embarrassed. Um, yeah, um, that's funny because sometimes, and this happens with artists a lot, I won't always remember exact names, but I would never forget your work,
That's
because your work reveals to me your soul. Um, yeah, Shauna, Ryan, they were truly wonderful to work with. And I would love to be a more vital part of the fan base and of the vertical world. But yeah, I would like to take larger roles on. And hopefully, maybe people would want to see me in that. Maybe I could bring something to them. Um, Outside of the vertical world, we'll see. I feel the most valuable on stage and live. Um, I do. Um, and we'll keep moving forward.
yeah. You have one that will want to see you.
Do I?
Yeah, me.
Oh, yay! 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 Rock and roll.
But as ending question, and that is, if you have a message for the fans, do you want to say something to them or to the people
Oh,
that are watching still?
yeah. That'd be yeah, they're still watching that I haven't run off. Um, Thank you. Thank you so much. Without the fans, we wouldn't be here to tell these stories. We wouldn't be here to entertain. And it's not just about having a job, but it's about sharing our work with you, sharing our passion. Thank you so much. To the fans and the fan base, I personally appreciate you so much. And I know that most of us feel the same way. We are so grateful to, to all of you for allowing us to spend some time with and to tell some stories to you.
So that's where all my questions.
Yay! I promise to stop talking. Yay!
No, you're totally fine. I can listen to you way longer, but I need to sleep.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure you do. All right. This has been so wonderful. This has been a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me.
Yay. So wonderful to talk to you. And please
Likewise.
feel free to comment, reach out. We can stay connected through the socials and such.
Yeah, I would love
And thank
to.
you so much for supporting our industry.
Always.
It's people like you that keep us alive. So, yay.
So have a good rest of your day, right?
Yes. And you have a wonderful night of sleep and a wonderful day tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.